He banks in the three, and the Lakers win the game.
Good morning, Syndicate members. What's going on, man? It's Wednesday, so it's 9 a.m. Central. That means we are live right here in Insurance Syndicate headquarters. Insurance Syndicate headquarters here in Austin, Texas, man. Hope y'all are having a fantastic Wednesday.
Woo.
My name's Tony Merwin. This guy sitting to my right is the Jolly Ginger Giant himself, the king of trucking insurance, the king of Facebook groups, the Tower of Power, the master of disaster, Lean Joe Green, the money-making machine.
Woo!
Give it up.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? I love that freaking intro. Happy Winning on Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing kickstart to the week. It is the peak of the week, and as Tony said, we are here live with you at 9 a.m. Central every single week to just really bring as much value as we can to y'all. Real quick, before we get into an awesome action-packed show, I'm really excited for this one. It's been a little bit overdue, but that's just because of freaking how busy this dude is, and we're really excited to have him on. But real quick, shout out to Viva Virtual Solutions, the main sponsor of the show. You guys can see Lily. I see her in the comments. Yeah, and also if you could, let us know if you can hear and see us in the comments. But Lily, you guys are seeing drop all of our links. She does all of our editing, our publishing, all of our channels, all of that good stuff. She is just amazing. We couldn't do it without her here in the Insurance Syndicate. And even outside of the Syndicate, Viva and what they're doing for insurance agencies when it comes to partnering with a virtual assistant. So if you are in the market or potentially looking for a new vendor, I highly recommend checking out Viva. That is through Rob Lopez. They are just doing an amazing job. And even we just had something new roll out yesterday with them as far as quoting and administrative type tasks. So if you are, again, in the market, check out Viva. They are the main sponsor of the show. We appreciate y'all. But y'all know what time it is. It's the peak of the week. It's Winning on Wednesday. You guys know why we're here. Go ahead and start dropping them in the comments because we want to be able to celebrate those weekly wins. Drop them in the comments. I don't care how big or how small. We want to be able to celebrate you. Mr. Merwin, go ahead and kick us off. What you got for a weekly win?
Systems upgrades, man. Let's talk about that for a second. Last year and earlier this year, I went through a bunch of back office upgrades to enhance kind of our back office systems. Now I'm working on front office systems, so to speak, things that'll make the agent's experience more streamlined. And so we upgraded some computers. We also got some sick new integrations that are coming thanks to some of my partners over at RetireFlow. And also DFY, like some of the stuff those guys are doing is absolutely groundbreaking. If you were an agent out there in the Medicare space and you are not talking to Dalton Miller and what he is currently doing, the project he is launching with RetireFlow right now, you're missing the boat. It's an absolute no-brainer for me. As soon as he mentions the integration that he's doing between RetireFlow, Connecture, and Go High Level, all of that is a singular package. Like, sign me up, dude. Shut up and take my money. Like, let's go. Like, it's going to make things for the agent so much quicker, so much cleaner. And I'm really excited because as I've slowly built my tech stack, we're consolidating it more and more. Even though we're adding stuff on, we're consolidating it so that ultimately the agent's experience will live in a single platform. And everything else is integrated on the back end. They don't need to get into those other systems. So I'm super excited about that. And that puts pretty much getting all that set up, puts us in ready to hire mode for AEP.
Love it. Love it. Which is crazy. It's already freaking June. It's like, wait, AEP's almost like it's around the corner already. It's like, didn't you guys just get done with that? It
feels like it, but it's
right.
time to start prepping for
now
it.
It's prepping, right? We're gonna talk about some of that because there's things that you can actually use to prep for AEP. We have them handy. My weekly win, it's a big one. I'm sending out the invoice this morning. Shout out to my guy Thad Lindsay, who has really helped me put all of this together. And there's multiple parties that are involved, but I'm sending out an invoice for my consulting fee of 12% of $2.5 million on this hard money deal that I've been working on. So I'm really excited about that. You guys hear me bring up hard money, and I don't really actually know what I'm talking about, but I know people that do. We've put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, and it's going to be just an amazing kickstart to an even bigger project. Funds like $35 million, and there's just all kinds of awesome stuff that's going to follow. So very happy about that.
Yeah. I am rooting for you to close it because then you can pay me that money you owe me.
Yes, well exactly. Yeah, we have the executed contract and everything in place, so now it's just a matter of pushing that button and getting my money. So that is definitely the weekly win. I'm going to check the comments real quick before we get into the show just to see if anybody's dropping any of those wins in the comments. Todd says, yes, your network is your net worth, 100%. What up, JR? Best day of the week with the best in the business. Much love, fellas. Much love to you too, bro. If anybody, well, you guys can literally see the shirt that I'm wearing here. If you guys are in need of any type of apparel for your company, hit up my guy, JR Wood. He's here in Texas, but he can ship, and he does all kinds of custom gear for you and your team. Highly recommend. He is a preferred vendor here.
Yeah, he is right there in the comments. Just go hit him up and start up a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, without further ado, y'all, like I said, I'm really excited to have our guest on the show. You guys get to see him. You have the honor to get to see him every single Monday within the syndicate. It's now been well over a year that he's been running that live show. And y'all, like, what he drops and the value and the gold, well, it's almost 2 years. Yeah, it wasn't. I was just looking at it. I think it's a little bit over like 18 months or something. But just the consistency and the fact that, like, this guy has an 8-figure company and he shows 9-figure company, shows up every Monday to just literally speak to y'all and drop some gold. So that's why I'm so excited. This is one of our segments. We've done a couple here before. This is a segment of Shop Talk with our show host. So again, Luke runs our Monday show. We just want to be able to open up some of his story so y'all get to understand a little bit more about him, his backstory, and again, what kind of qualifies him to be running that Monday show. I know he's actually probably the most qualified to be running the show within 100%. The group. So without further ado, everybody give a nice warm welcome to Mr. Luke Acree. What's going on, brother?
Dude, man, I'm excited to be here. And did I hear you correct? You're making 12% on $2.5 million?
Yeah, and
I'm quitting my day job, dude, and I'm coming to find out what you're doing, man.
That's on the funding side, and then we get another 2 points on the actual. Well, 2 points on the funding side, and then 12% was what I negotiated with the actual client too.
That is just insane.
Yeah,
that is literally insane. Yeah. Wow.
It was wild.
No, I appreciate you guys. I mean, being able to run Monday Mindset has been awesome. It really is a gift to me. So I really appreciate you guys allowing me to do it. I think it's a gift to me really because one is obviously our brand gets out there. So thank you for that to all the amazing people within the insurance syndicate. So ReminderMedia's brand and stuff. But then also it's kind of that consistency that everybody talks about, but you rarely like implement things in your life that force you to do it. And I have learned, I'm going to turn 37 this year. I've learned that I really need like external things to keep me accountable. I'm not intrinsically motivated enough to keep accountability. Like I've learned that if I have to have a Monday mindset that I'm showing up for Joe and Tony and these other people, then I can show up way easier than if I'm just doing it myself, which is a lot of people maybe not think that about me. They think, oh, I'm really super intrinsically motivated, but it's like I show up better when I'm obligated to somebody else than I do for myself, which is kind of crazy, but you got to know yourself, right? Be successful. So
absolutely. I'm going to take that as a compliment too, because I take that you have enough respect for us and what we're doing within the syndicate to be like, nope, sign me up. I'm on board. I will be there, be accountable right alongside you guys. So we appreciate, everything that you're doing with that show. And if you guys aren't familiar with Luke's show, it's every Monday, 9 a.m. and it is called Monday Mindset, but he talks about getting your mindset, your marketing, and your money correct. And
that's
easily
correct.
One of the best shows that we do every week. So tell us just a little bit more about who Luke Acree is in kind of a general 30,000 foot overview.
And I know some of your backstory, so we're going to get into this because I want to hear all about the music, everything, dude.
I'll pull out my guitar here. So where to start? I mean, if I went way back, so like I said, I'm turning 37 this year, but I grew up in Virginia. Unique things about me is there's 8 kids in my family, so I have 7 siblings. There's 6 boys, 2 girls. So that's unique right off the bat. Another unique thing was homeschooled all the way to college. So I was one of those homeschool kids, which I look back as a tremendous blessing in my life. Maybe I didn't see it that way totally at the time, but I definitely see it that way today. And then, my dad's a pastor, one of my heroes, still is a pastor to this day, has been at the same church for, it's got to be 36 years now, pastoring Flavanna Baptist Church. So it's awesome. My mom obviously homeschooled us, stay-at-home mom. And I got into music, like you're saying, Joe, really early. So probably 11 years old. Maybe it was 10. I started playing trumpet. God's really given me a gift for music. And I just fell in love with it. Was playing, and then went to a Christian camp, and there was this kid there. I can't even remember his name, but he was playing guitar. And I realized, people don't think playing trumpet's cool. This shows you how vain I am. The girls don't like the trumpet player. Maybe you do. Chat in if you know a trumpet player that you think is just freaking sexy. So I came home from that camp like at 12 years old or 13. I forget when I went, 12, 13. And my dad had a guitar, and he knew like the G chord, C chord, D chord. And I had him teach me guitar. And then I became obsessed. And I literally, from 13 to all the way to about 19, was just all in on music, playing 4 hours a day, no exaggeration. Wow. We formed a band, multiple iterations of a band. I was a part of a band called Freedom Drive, and then formed a band called Acree Brothers with my brother. So funny fact is the guy who runs our marketing, not Josh, but Dan, the actual talent of the designs and the ads, everything we do. It's my brother Dan. He's an introvert, but he's like insanely talented. But he's a drummer, and an incredible drummer. And so he was our drummer. My brother Steven, who's the real estate agent now that I talk about a lot, he was a guitar player, played the fiddle, violin, but we played it more like a fiddle. And my brother Mark played bass for a while. And then one of my cousins also filled in for bass for a while. And so we did that. We were playing Christian camps and festivals, and kind of all up and down the East Coast, went as far as Wisconsin, all the way across to Texas, and we're kind of family band playing that. And I thought that's what I wanted to do. That's what I thought God had for my life. And my brother Dan fell in love, and we weren't making any money, so he had to get a real job and started doing web design. And my mom said, "You weren't really cut out for college, Luke. You should get a certificate." And she's a saint of a woman. So I went to community college and started doing that. Fun story about the band right in community college, and cut me off at any point, but this shows you like just about consistency we were just talking about. I was at college, and there was a battle of the bands that Kellogg's was putting on, and we weren't playing at this point. We had gone away to college. Dan had gotten a job, and I submitted our demo to get into the battle of the bands, and so we got selected to play as one of the people, and then we won the Battle of the Bands at the university, which put us into Kellogg's national competition. And then you competed in a voting thing online against, I think it was 4 or 5 other bands, and we got voted into the top, it was 3 bands that got selected to go out to LA out of like, I can't remember if it was a dozen or so college bands or something like that got voted up to the top. So we got voted into the top 3 and went out to LA and performed in front of the guys who produced NSYNC and all these like record labels. And so I thought it was so funny. We were playing, we didn't win. Spoiler alert, we didn't win, but we got off the stage, and one of the producers looked at us and said, "You guys are amazing. Whatever you do, don't effing quit." And I think about that today. I was like, "Oh, dude, we quit."
It's so funny you bring that up, man. So a lot of people don't know this about me either, but I actually I grew up playing piano. So I played piano for years. Guitar, I played for probably close to 4 years of guitar. And I started, it's funny, my brother ended up moving over to tab because he didn't like reading music, and I kind of was a little bit slower because I wanted to read the music. Played the cajon, so I didn't ever really play on the drum set, but I had a cajon, and then harmonica, and I can still play the harmonica. But what's funny, dude, is I didn't have the consistency. I can play Smoke on the Water on the guitar, and that's about it still.
Wow.
I can play the the one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater on piano, and the Shaggy Dog Bop, and that's about the only songs I can play. And that's
enough to impress people after they're drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But what's funny though is I didn't have the consistency, and part of that I wonder, which I wrote this down. You said, man, I was playing music 4 hours a day. Did that come from an external accountability source that you brought up to start the show?
No, that was truly just passion, man. That was, I loved it. I just truly loved it. Someone asked me the other day, we're going through John Maxwell's leadership training, 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. I'm taking my whole team through it. And part of the workbook is asking people, when did they first realize they were a leader? And I can't really place time frame, but I do see like my band days. I loved it so much that I was willing to get on the phone and call these pastors to have us come out to their church youth groups to play, to set up these events at, 15 years old, 16 years old. But I just loved it. I wasn't thinking about the business side of music. Knowing what I know now about running Reminder Media and building the business, if I would have applied that to music, I'd probably be still doing that today. Because I play in my church praise band almost every week. It's been difficult to keep that up with the schedule and stuff like that. But I still play all the time. My brothers and I joke that if we lived closer to each other altogether, we probably still have a band. But yeah, I just love music. I think music can reach people when nobody else can.
Yes.
And so like from the spiritual side, not to get all spiritual on that, but it's a huge part of my life. I'm a follower of Jesus. And I think that's the really ultimately, our mission for Reminder Media is to empower entrepreneurs to live a life of freedom, which can seem kind of woohoo, type out there. But that really stems from the mission of my personal life, which is I want to empower people to live a life of freedom. And your 6 dimensions of a person, right? And that's, I always frame it up as like you have your faith, your family, your friends, your finance, your fitness, and your fun, right? And so these are your 6 dimensions, and all of us are trying to live at level 10 in all of these areas, and it's a give and take and a balance. But my personal opinion is everything stems from your identity, everything stems from your faith, and I just found that to be true in my life. And so I think music just has the ability, especially Christian music, to reach people that are unreachable, because apologetics was such a big part of my background of like, I believe that it's a reasonable faith. I believe there's historical evidence, all this other stuff, but you can't debate people into your faith. It's not how it works. You got to move the heart before you move the mind. And that's a sales principle right there. You got to move the heart before you move the mind, but that's also a people principle. So anyways.
Absolutely. And that's awesome. I didn't know about your music backstory, which is cool because that's something that we all have in common. Because I used to play the stereo. I mean, I would play it loud, and I was good. I could play classical, I could play jazz, I could play rock and roll.
You just had those fast fingers to turn the dial,
Absolutely. I knew how to run the equalizer. Like I was really good at it. So I have a quick question for you, man. Your mom said you weren't cut out for college. Was she hitting on you in a negative way, or was she saying you're too much of an entrepreneur to go deal with college? Like, how do you think she meant it, or how did you take it?
I took it as like, and this is totally spot on, I didn't apply myself. So again, I give myself a little grace because my siblings happen to be, like, my oldest brother, Josh, is like savant level smart. He went to college at 15. He wrote a book called Excalibur when he was like 15 years old. So he's like insanely smart. And then my sister Anna went to college at 16. She's younger than me. So she went to college like same time. And then my brother Dan, it's not that he's the drummer guy. It's not like no knock on you, Dan, if you listen to this, but it's not like he's Josh level smart, but he was way smarter than me. And so I just didn't apply myself extremely well in our homeschooling curriculum. And I was a hard child of like, my mom would always say, if Luke wanted to do it, he would do it better than anybody. But if he didn't want to do it, he was not going to do it. Right. And I find that to be true. That's what my wife, Megan, tells me. It's like, I'm like a light switch. I'm either all in or I'm like literally doing nothing. Like I'm like, that sounds crazy. It's like, I'm either all in on something, or I can't even, like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like I'm not even involved. Yeah. And that has helped me tremendously in business because, Grant Cardone wrote the book to be obsessed, be obsessed or be average, basically. And I now see, I didn't see it at the time, but I go, I have a little bit of those traits. Like if I'm all in, like music, it's 4 hours a day. Like it's almost like OCD type. But if I'm not into it, I'm just not gonna I'm just not going to do it type idea. And I've overcome that a little bit in my life. But I think that's what my mom was seeing is like, hey, you don't like school. It's not going to work for you. And so you should go get a certificate. So at least you can get a job. You should get a certificate in computers. And then that's what led me. So I did a certificate in computers. And that took us into web design courses. And my brother had done some web. My brother's a gifted designer, Dan. And then we started Nextmark Design. And that was the church websites. That was the, digital marketing, stuff like that. We were doing that. And then that got us connected with Steve, who's my uncle, right? And he had founded ReminderMedia 20 years ago or so. He was in the print space. And we started then talking, and we had been doing Nextmark Design for, I guess, 4 years at that time, almost 5 years. And Steve convinced us to join forces with him, which really was, such a huge blessing from God. And so that then took off, and, it's just been amazing ever since.
What year was that? Nextmark Design. What year was that you guys were getting that going?
2007, 2008.
Okay.
Some time frame in there. Maybe 2006. I'd have to go back and check the LLC when we actually did it. Fun thing, or funny thing, I shouldn't say fun thing. Yesterday I heard from my director of customer service that there is a mailer out there called America's Lifestyle. And it's a mailer that includes a magazine. And the company, guess what the company name is that is doing it? Nextmark. And I'm like, somebody's effing with me right now. Somebody, because we have American Lifestyle magazine, and then the first company was Nextmark Design. So I was like, what the heck? Some competitor out there is like trying to F with me or something. It was funny.
It's your brother. It's your brother. He heard you talk trash about
exactly. Yeah, he's heard me talking crap, and he's like, I'm gonna. So that was like, it was all God has a plan. It was all, and it even gets better than that, man. This is how God works. Is I've dated my wife. Grew up with her in church, dated in high school. She went off to Longwood University because that's where her parents went. I followed her there. I transferred in from a community college and didn't realize you needed an internship to graduate. And it was too late for me. And so I called Steve up and said, Steve, let me just program for your business, ReminderMedia on the side. I'll just do some programming for you. We'll call it an internship. And that's what got me connected to Steve, because Steve's my uncle, but we didn't really, like, I knew him, family events, but we didn't really have a relationship. But that got me talking to him, and then that got him knowing me and Dan and going, hey, and then giving us some mentorship, which you need mentors in your life. I was just lucky enough that's in my family, right? And Joe, you could probably relate with your dad and stuff like that. But it's like, it's what a blessing it is to have somebody that's close to you that can give you some guidance and mentorship from what they've learned. And then that just, over as we were growing, the Nextmark Design, and then joined up with Steve. It just all because I followed my wife to this. It's just looking back and go, gosh, man, that's how it works.
We have way too much in common. I know. So maybe some of y'all remember this, but what was this? Gosh, was this 2 years ago, Luke? That when I really got to know, we flew around on the jet with Cody and everything.
It might have been 3 years ago.
Seriously,
I can't even remember.
The time is flying. But I was homeschooled in 5th grade, and it only lasted 1 year because I learned how. Well, when you talk about applying yourself to the curriculum, I just learned how to cheat the curriculum, dude. I'm just like waiting for mom to go, and I'm like, once I get all my stuff done, then I can go jump on the trampoline, I can go play basketball, whatever. So I ended up like just cheating the curriculum. My dad was a pastor, right? And then literally what got me into insurance, Luke, I needed an internship in order to get this thing. And
crazy, isn't it?
The rest is freaking history, man. Real quick, as we're obviously sitting here talking about your backstory, and I love what you've shared, man. And I love the 6 F's too. I think that's really powerful. Could you just give a kind of just general overview of ReminderMedia? Obviously, you guys can see some of the flagship product here on the screen, but just touch base real quick, just an overall, hey, who is ReminderMedia and everything, and we'll kind of unpack some of that as well.
Perfect. So ReminderMedia is a marketing company. Marketing's really broad. Now, we've grown over the years to become more of a platform. So if you're looking to generate leads, you're looking for help in acquiring them in the sales funnel process, or if you're looking to nurture the current leads and database you have to get referrals and repeat business, we kind of help you in all 3 of those pillars now. Our flagship is what you held up there, Joe, which is our customizable magazine. That really focuses on the nurturing side, and it's the thing I like to talk about the most because it's the most unique. There's a lot of digital marketing companies out there. There's a lot of print-based companies. There are very few companies that produce your own personally branded magazine. That is our goal. So for the insurance agent, we produce for you your very own 48-page coffee table publication. We send it to your database as a gift. There's really 4 areas that I drive people to use it in. One is to keep in touch with your database. Number 2 is your face-to-face meetings, so your appointments, your seminars. It's an impression piece that can be handed out. Number 3 is your community strategy. How are you out where your people are at? Meaning the doctor's office, the hair salon, the car dealership. It should be in all of your high traffic areas in your community. And then number 4, which is often overlooked in a lot of businesses, is your partnerships. So you have a bunch of other local businesses that have built trust with an audience, and you need to take advantage of that by giving something to them. So feature those local businesses in your magazine as a way to build reciprocity, so they want to refer you more than the other insurance agent. And so those really are the 4 pillars that the magazine helps with. Is I'm going to get you in front of your sphere. I'm going to give you an impression piece to hand out. I'm going to get you out and about in the community to all the high traffic areas. And then last but not least, I'm going to help you build partnerships. And I always tell people, because I think it hits home, is I can do a 48-page magazine for less than what a Hallmark card cost at CVS or Walmart. And so, you go in there, everybody's bought them. They're $6, $7, $8 without postage, still got to write in them. This is a 48-page magazine that can be customized to the individual you send it to for $4.99, shipping included. Right. Minimum's only $50, as you guys know. So you're talking $250 every 2 months to hit your best 50 relationships or have a great impression piece. To me, that's a worthwhile investment.
Dude, y'all's dashboard is freaking slick too, man. Because obviously, Klein, I've been in there when I was doing the recruiting stuff with y'all too. I think that's something I didn't really 100% know that y'all kind of played in that vertical, right? I thought it was kind of more like client facing. But then once signing up with, I think his name was John, and I had another guy that was working with me, bro. Once those things turned on, dude, I had so many freaking agents that were booking calls with me because of my PNC success program is what we called it. And like, they did it all, man. And I can't tell you how many people freaking booked it. I literally told them, I was like, guys, we're going to have to pause this, because like I literally am getting too many people booking calls on my calendar, which is all.
I'm going to clip this up, man. I'm going to use this in my advertising.
Really, clip it up, Lily. But seriously, though, it was like,
yeah, that's the paid advertising part, I think, of the business. So we run Facebook ads and Instagram ads for people. We're getting into Google and then, Hulu, YouTube, TV, all that stuff. But right now we really look at Facebook and Instagram. That also plays into just kind of sharing a little bit more about the journey. Is probably the biggest mistake I've made is defocusing too fast. Like hindsight's always 20/20. But it's like going to those other areas as fast as I did, because I just got so excited and we were growing like fire. And it's just like I wanted to add fuel to it, and just realizing it's very hard to master more than 2 things. And you get degradation in your service, degradation in your product, and that then affects what? Slowly, it affects your brand. Because it does, and that's where this is the big mistake I made, is not realizing that, man, I mean, if you're going to do things, you have to do them well. We all know that. But the effects of not doing it well will hurt your brand more than you ever realize. And so patience in business is so critical and so hard. It's just so hard to be patient, because also too much patience can kill you.
Yeah. Right. But you have to be patient for the data to come in so that you can make the adjustments and see the metrics in real time and proper time. Right. I struggle with that, because I want to go fast in a lot of ways. And I'm like, well, got to be patient.
Yep.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I want to go back real quick. When you joined up with Steve at ReminderMedia, what were you doing at that point? What were you and your brother both? Correct?
Yep.
Designer Dan.
Yeah, so Dan took a few months longer to convince to move up to Philly. So when I joined up, so Steve was in Philly at the time, and he's a successful entrepreneur. So I drove back and forth from Virginia to Philly for like 8 months. Like I would come up here, and then I'd kind of hit it all week, and then I would go back on the weekends. I had just gotten married. I was just getting married in that time frame, so it was a tougher time. That's in my journey of going, am I going to do this or not? Really, what Steve wanted was he was doing a lot of outside sales. He has some 1099s going into real estate offices selling the print magazine to real estate agents.
Oh, y'all already had the magazine at that point.
Yeah, he had the magazine. That was his concept, is this magazine, and he has a great story. I should really. I don't. Have you guys ever met Steve? I forget over our years if you ever met him. Oh man, he'd be phenomenal. I mean, he's kind of retired now in a way. Good for him. He should be. But but he incredible. I mean, story. I could go into that. It's just I should share that with you guys. But anyways, he had built this concept of the magazine, right, going out, which is brilliant. He had some 1099s. My dad was one of them, actually going into a real estate office and just showing it to people and presenting it. And so Steve said, I think, it could be sold over the phone, but he wasn't able to do it. He had been trying to get people to sell. It's not like he couldn't sell it over the phone, but it's like trying to do in that part of the business. So where I focused really, I came up to go, okay, would we join this? Does this make sense? And I sat down. The first thing I did is pick up the phone and call for 2 hours to real estate agents in the phone book. And within 2 hours, it's another God thing. I closed a real estate agent over the phone. I have no real background in sales at this point, right? It's 15 years or so ago. And I just sat down, started calling. And that's a great lesson to everybody. It's like, stop overthinking it. How do you start? Just sit down, pick up the phone book, and start calling people. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And about 2 hours in, I closed a real estate agent. And again, had that epiphany type moment. As corny as that sounds, it goes, oh, no, we could do this. We could build out a whole call center. And that's where I focus my attention, is basically going, okay, how do we build out a call center? How do we hire people? How do we bring in sales, all that stuff? And so I built out our call center. And then I realized, man, our sales exploded. They really did. God blessed it. Our sales exploded. And it was working, but we were signing up 100 people and only getting 69 to actually print and actually use our products and services. Because you guys in service-based businesses, you're busy and you don't have your list together. You don't have your photos together. Oh, I got to go take a new headshot. Oh, I got to go get my addresses. And then you never do it. Right. And so then I started working on what we call marketing advisors, client services. Maybe you would know it as customer service. How do I get people in the onboarding process to go and actually use the product? And that's what got me working on the onboarding and making those calls and figuring that out and building that up. And then that taught me, and still to this day, guess what? How many do you think out of 100 we get to actually print?
Now?
How many? Yeah.
85.
Boom. Spot on, dude. On a good month, we'll get about 87%. To actually print.
Actually print 7%.
And they all pay us. They all pay us to set up. They all pay us the money.
Right?
Say what?
These are new people, right? So
new people. Yeah, these are new. So I sign up, Joe. You knew. Out of 100 people, I get to pay me a setup fee to pay me for what they're doing. They want to do. 87 of them will actually follow through and get me their collateral to send it out. And I have, 17 people that all they do all day is call for list and photos. That's all they do is call to coach and help people get their list together in photos, right? It's crazy.
Way. Really?
Yeah, it's wild. So, I started doing that, but that taught me.
You had to haggle me a little bit too.
Say what?
Y'all had to haggle me a little bit too. Like it took me.
Yeah, we do. Everybody is this way, myself included. And so we've gotten really good at professionally annoying people. We're very annoying in the onboarding process, that's for sure. But that then taught me that you can get people to use your product. You can sell it. You can get people to use it, but there's cancels that happen. And the thing that has defined my journey that it's hard to talk about yourself because you don't want to come across as arrogant. But the thing I look at it and go, where's Luke better than most people? I'm just dumb enough or brave enough, you could say, to do the work. So people were canceling. So instead of sitting there and pontificating about people canceling, I just started retention. I started the retention department of ReminderMedia and sitting on the phones, on the floor. You got your sales team here, you got your service team here, and I'm just taking the cancel calls. We didn't have a retention department. I'm just start figuring out what do you do for people who want to cancel. That's a hard sale when people are trying to cancel your product because they tried it. So you can't persuade them on what it could be because they've tried it. So you have to persuade them on why they failed because of their lack of action or how we need to adjust. And that's a hard sell. So I figured that out, and that's what led me to going, people don't like people aren't canceling because they don't like the product. They love the product, but they're canceling because they need to be able to spend that money to reach more people, or they need to have a bigger bang for their buck. And that's what led me to create the digital magazine. That's what led me to take all the content and create our social media. We were already headed that way, but it sped that up in my mind of going, hey, this whole thing that we know we got to do. So that's then what led me down that road. And then like paid advertising, it's still to this day, like we started it 2.5 years ago. Where did it come from? It came from me running it for Steven's business, for Acree Brothers Realty, and going, hey, we need paid advertising in Acree Brothers Realty. So I started running it and go, hey, we could probably do this with clients. Then I got a beta group of 7 agents across the nation, ran all theirs. And then, and this is me, like me running it, Steve. And that's where I think most people just, I don't know why, but most people just don't do that. Like the podcast that we started same way. We just sat down and just started doing it. I'm just willing to do it, and that's the difference. I know that sounds simplistic, but
no, you're sitting on the show, bro, and within the group, where literally, and my dad tells the story because it just happened. I was just like, you know what, screw it, dude. I'm going to start this group called the Insurance Syndicate, and we're going to disrupt the industry through collaboration and transparency of information shared. Boom, I had it all done, literally group created in less than 24 hours. And then here we are a little bit over 3 years later, almost 9,000 members strong, all organic growth.
It's
like
insane.
all this, I mean, it's just crazy, dude. And
that's how you can tell an A player. I've hired a lot of people and fired a lot now, is you can tell an A player instantly within a couple weeks by the initiative they take. If you hire somebody that does not have initiative, you have hired a C to maybe at best a B- player. And you need to probably get rid of them. I hate to say it that way, but you need to probably get rid of them. And the only exception there is if you have the bandwidth to tell a player that needs to be, like, you tell them exactly what to do, and they can go do what you told them exactly what to do. But all you have there is just almost like an extra arm. You still got to tell your arm what to do. And so it's really not giving you the leverage you deserve. And a huge mistake business owners make, myself included, preaching at myself, is you put up with B players, C players way longer than you should. And if people are not taking initiative, they are a C- to B- player.
yeah, man, that's good. I want to, real quick, I wanted to talk about the cancels. So, dude, I swear, bro, like, we got way too much in common. I don't know, man. Like maybe I'm an Acree or something. I don't know. I can't sing or nothing.
Maybe
though.
I'm a camper. Who knows?
Yeah. I'll go Acree. I'll go with that. No, I'm kidding. But when I started in insurance, and people have heard me say this before, why I think I got so good at sales is because I started in service, and I started with claims and cancels and increase calls on the insurance side. So literally all I did was talk to people either when they just had an accident, it's a scary, and hopefully they have the coverage. And if not, then I got to walk them through that about how none of it's going to be covered, right? And or, hey, I'm calling these people to let them know that they're increasing by 50%. And they're like, why? Nothing changed. And I'm like, well, apparently your neighbors had a bunch of accidents, right? Or people calling to cancel. And that was just when I was with Allstate. So I had no other options. So it was, I have to somehow figure out how to get them to stay, where obviously independent's like, okay, well, hold on. Let me shop it around with the other carriers where Allstate, but I'm telling you, bro, I almost want to start my salespeople. Like,
I've thought about the same thing. It makes you an assassin.
Yeah.
You got to take the cancels, because the number one thing in sales is belief. Like, you have to believe to a point of evangelism in what your product and service brings to the table. Because only then will you be the directness that you need to be. And some people might call it closing, squeezing. I call it passion. Will you tell people? I tell my sales team all the time, Tony's driving, tell him to pull over to the side of the road. Tony, really appreciate you, man. Be safe. Just put your blinker on, get over to the side of the road. We'll get this taken care of. I know it's a little bit of inconvenience, but trust me, it's going to be worth it. I really appreciate you doing it. While you're finding a spot to pull over, let me tell you about this other feature that you're going to get. And the only way you can be able to tell somebody in a heartbeat when you ask them for the credit card, hey, I'm driving, I can't do it right now. The only way you're able to tell them to pull over to the side of the road is if you believe the inconvenience of pulling over to the side of the road pales in comparison to the value that you will bring. And they will look back and say, I'm so glad on June 4th at 10:42, Luke Acree made me and annoyed me enough to pull over to the side of the road, because ReminderMedia changed my business. And you have to be that way. And the moment you're not that way, you got problems. And it's like, how do you influence your belief? I believe number one way you influence your belief is through testimony. So you got to go get some testimony on the product that you have and the service that you have, because that influences belief. So when I'm down and out, I kind of go read the positive testimonies that are coming in on our program, because it influences my belief and helps. And then the biggest way, I should say, even greater than testimony, is walking by faith, right? And this is, again, I keep going back to the spiritual, right? Is like, I challenge people all the time, test Jesus, test him, walk out his principles, because when you test and you walk by faith, what you're going to find is the object of your faith proves to be true. We all have faith in the chairs we're sitting in, right? We have faith that the chair is going to hold us up. So we have faith in the object, that when we sit down, it's not going to fail, it's going to hold. And so what I always challenge people to do in their business is like, hey, what's the best way to overcome doubt? Through action, because in action, you will create belief, and that's what you need. And so you just got to be willing in the business environment to get slapped in the face a bunch through that action. But that is ultimately what I try to encourage people, is like, hey, belief comes through testimony. And even greater than testimony, it comes through you living it out and it proving it to be true in your own life. Because there's a lot of reasons to believe, from a spiritual side or even from a business side and what your product is, but it's a lot easier to believe when you actually are a user of the product, when you are actually doing what you say. Because I think we're scared of making cold calls and all this stuff because we have imposter syndrome, and that imposter syndrome has some truth to it because you haven't done the work. Like when you get up and speak on stage and you don't do the greatest job and you didn't put in the effort, that's when it really stings. That's when the failure really stings, because you're a fraud. You didn't put in the effort that you should. And I've been here so many times where it's just like, I didn't do all that I should have done to prepare. And that's what we owe, and we run from that, in my opinion. Like, we run from it. And that's where I think most agents fall down, is they don't really mind the rejection. It's the fact that the rejection verifies that they're an imposter. Right? That's what they really hate, is that they don't mind the rejection. It's that the rejection is actually telling them, yeah, you are an imposter. You're not trading. You're not putting in the work. You're not doing what you need to do. And it's the people who can get through that, right? And in my opinion, is you can't get through that alone. You've got to get an accountability partner, a mentor, a community to help you get through that, which hence the Insurance Syndicate is so powerful, because it's a community of like-minded people that can help drive you forward and pick you up.
Yeah, I think where you said you have to get through that, that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people, because once they hit that wall where they realize, hey, I'm not putting in the work, I'm a quote-unquote fraud, right? Whatever you want to say, I don't have the skill set, and people are rejecting me and they're bringing that out. A lot of people aren't willing, because it's hard, to set their ego aside and look at the things that are preventing them from being not an imposter, not a fraud, whatever it might be, and recognizing that and be like, okay, well, if I'm not putting in the work and I'm coming across as a fraud and I don't have the skill set, I can either give up, which a lot of people do. They're just like, okay, well, I guess this is me. I'll just live in this space that I've been pushed back to, versus the ones that'll do the internal work and be like, okay, well, how do I fix that? How do I learn to put in the work? What is the work I need to be doing? And then the second, your point, who is someone that can hold me accountable, guide me, point me in the right direction, mentor me, let me get my nose bloodied, come clean it up real quick, send me back out, whatever it might be. But that is an extremely difficult thing. I learned that, of all places, I learned that about myself most in playing poker. So I used to play poker constantly before I got married. Like that was my night job, right? And I tracked over about 1,500 hours playing with a win rate. But it wasn't until I started examining the real mistakes I was making in my game and taking ownership of them versus blaming them on victim circumstance. Oh, the cards are just lucky for that guy. That guy's an idiot. He just got lucky, right? Or I just got unlucky. Instead of learning to unravel the decisions I was making that led to the defeat and taking ownership of those, did my game ever change? And then I've
so well said.
Been able to carry that over into other areas of my life as well. But ironically, I found it in that space.
The hard part too, I think, when it comes to, at least from what I've seen, and I know something that I definitely struggled with at the start, is you got to swallow the pride pill and even admit to yourself that, hey, I've got to, well, not just admit to yourself, you got to admit to somebody else that you're effing up, right? And that you do need help. And I know even just as us as males, right, we're already like set to do that. I got this, I can handle everything. And it's like having to swallow that pride pill of like, okay, Joe, hey, you don't have it all figured out. That's obviously why you're sitting in the seat that you are. So shut up, admit it to yourself. You're going to have to admit it to somebody else, but that's the whole purpose of accountability, right? I think that's such a big piece, man. I call it our tribe, right? Like when you're in my tribe, like it's, they give me a hand up, not a hand out. They check me, right? They celebrate me. There's all these things that kind of are a piece of that. And I truly, like you said, Luke, I don't think you really go far without other people, man. You got to have other people.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I truly don't think you can. I always also share often that if you hide your failure has power over you. If you voice your failure, you have power over the failure. And there's nothing more that the devil wants than to have you hide your sin, in essence, because it's the sin will control you. You got to get it out in the open, right? And these biblical principles apply so much to business of just like, it's like you're saying you got to have other people, you got to get it out there. It's like confess your sins one to another. There's freedom in voicing the mistake and going, I effed up here, this is what, and then you have power now to move forward. But if you hide it, now you have to show to the world, I'm perfect. I don't have this thing over here that's, haunting me. But guess who knows you have that thing? You do.
Right.
And you can't have subconsciously integrity, which gives you confidence, and you'll personify that. And people want to buy from authentic people, right? They want to work with people that are real. All these things we all know to be true, but it really starts there. And of course, I don't live this perfectly. Like you guys have heard probably on my Monday Mindsets, I'm trying to try to be 100% honest 100% of the time in love. And that is just ridiculous. Try for the next 7 days to be 100% honest 100% of the time. It is almost impossible, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy how hard it is.
I just had it on Monday, bro, where literally I'm like, and it started that morning, and it was like, oh, man, I totally don't want to deal with this. You know what, dude? I can just kind of, we'll call it, for the lack of a better term, just backdoor it, and that'll just take care of it, whatever. But I just felt this oh, but it's so just not honest, bro. It's it'll suffice, right? But I'm like, man, what could come of this? And I was like, you know what? Screw it. This is boom. Just put it all out there. And it's so funny, dude. It's like a weight lifts up off your shoulders. You're like, oh, and then what do you know? Nothing came of it. It's totally good. All, thumbs up. And I'm like, dang, man. Even just something as simple as an email, right? It's like, oh, okay. It's funny you bring that up, to really, all right, I'm going to sit here and anything that I'm doing in work or in sales or recruiting, is everything 100% honest and transparent.
Honest, transparent. It's even as simple as laughing at people's jokes that you don't think are funny. It's why do that? It's stuff like that where that's probably nitpicking a little bit, but no. It's down to the reality of going, who do you love the most? You love people that are just real. It's just they personify something. And I just realized in my life that wasn't me. Meaning, I'm not sitting here lying, deceiving people. That's not what that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everything is like a act. If you know what I mean, you're trying to put on this persona versus going, no, this is just who I am. This is what I believe. This is what we're doing. Even to my talks now that I'm trying to give less of this is what you should do, more of, I don't have any idea if this is what you should do, but this is what we're doing. And these are the results we are getting. So, you can mimic us. You can basically go down this road. Right. And I don't know. Talk to me in 5 years. We'll see where it ends up. But that's what I'm trying to do in my life.
How much does that change your sales approach, right? Because, when you're selling, dude, there's pitching, right? It's doesn't that change your entire pitch and your entire approach to that call or that conversation?
It 100% does. Yeah. It changes the way. It doesn't mean you don't use the professional tactics of sales and try to do what all good salespeople do. But what it means is that you come from a place of, it's essentially a place of relationship. Ultimately, I believe it. It's whether you do business with me or not, Tony, or do business with me or not, Joe, here is what I bring to the table, and here's what I can do. And it's as simple as when I teach my salespeople, it's stop trying to dance around the point you're going to somehow educate this person into buying. They know you're trying to sell them. Literally tell them, hey, my goal for this call is I want to earn you as a client. Like, I would love for you to buy our products and services. Here's why I think it's worth it to you. You will just see people just be like, okay, I might listen now because I know what your intent is. I know what you're trying to do, versus this idea that there's just like a lie out there. It's like, I'm going to educate people into just going, you know what, I want to buy. And that's not, people know you're trying to sell them. They know you have an intent. And so I'm just trying. Now, all these things, obviously, nothing is black and white in life. It's all nuanced. But I just have challenged myself recently of going, hey, where you guys talk about pride, Luke's biggest struggle is this silent pride of, it's not arrogance in the like outward sense, at least from my perspective. It's more of that silent pride that is, I don't want to post that video because of what people might think. I don't want to say that thing. I want to, I might laugh at somebody's joke that I don't think is funny just so I can earn a little bit more rapport with that person. And now it's like, now I've told them that they're funny, but they're really not funny. It's like, imagine telling your wife that the food she cooked was good and it's horrible. Not good. And then the rest of your marriage, you live with her thinking that she's cooking. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's like you play out those examples. And so that's just for me. I know this is
our own cooking show podcast. Who knows?
Yeah,
man. You were saying when you talked about the example, like, I don't tell my prospective clients, right? Hey, this is what you should be doing. I say, this is what we're doing. Perhaps that would work for you as well. These are the results. You kind of be the judge. I like that. I feel like that is good branding, and I'm saying that based on some information or a video I recently saw with Alec Hormozy, where he was explaining his definition of brand. Have you ever heard his definition?
I don't know if maybe I have. I don't know if I don't know it off the top of my head.
He says that good branding is the pairing of two things through a positive outcome, or through any outcome. It could be negative branding or positive branding. So I feel like when you show them, like, hey, this is exactly what we're doing, it could work for you. I feel like that gives them, they're seeing the positive outcome for you. You're one of the pairs. You're trying to pair with them, and that creates the opportunity for, what do they call it, for transference.
I love that.
In advertising, right? Where they think, oh, well, if they're getting these results,
right,
and he's not the smartest guy in the planet, probably, I could probably do that too. And they transfer them in that level of success and create that good outcome for themselves. So I feel like
I love that. The only thing,
it's a matter of transference and branding.
I add to that in the sales process is saying to people like, hey, this is what we have had. This is what we've seen. So I'm not sure if it's perfect or not, but this is what I would want you to do. But adding to that, and I want you to try it. Like, I want you to do, I want to earn your business. I want to sell you to try what I'm doing. I just don't want to be untransparent of going, basically, this is exactly what you can do, and it's going to guarantee you these results, because that just doesn't happen. It's like not hiding that I definitely want to close you. Like, I definitely want to earn your business as a client. I think that, at least in my industry, selling to small business professionals is been really transformative. It's like, I'm now calling Joe Campert up and not wasting any time and just going, Joe, I want to help you get more business. I believe I can do it, but I'm not sure if it's the perfect system. Let me show you what to a 2-call close from a 1-call close. And this was a huge leap of faith for us. And so far it's like crazy. Like, a sample request would come in for the magazine. Our top closers would close at like 30%. Our normal closers would close at like 15%. Okay. And we're getting close rates on our demos now of 80%. Like, bad closers are closing at 60+%. I say bad closers, but like mediocre closers on our team on the demo. And the demo is based off of literally, hey, here's what we're doing. Like, here's what our own real estate team is doing if we're selling to the real estate industry. Here's what our clients are doing. And this is how they're doing it. And I want a chance for you to try it. We're booking the demos with a bold claim. We're coming out of the gate and going, hey, I know this could come across the wrong way. Don't laugh at me here, but, you get a ton of calls every day, Joe, but I'm going to be the best call that you've ever gotten. And I truly believe that, and here's why. I don't just say that just out of nowhere. I say that because we have our own team, like boom, and this is what we're doing. And I just want to get on a call with you and show you in 15 minutes what we are doing. Worst case scenario, you learn what this number one team is doing. Best case scenario, I earn your business. And people are booking those calls.
Yeah.
We're trying to get 8 demos a day per SDR right now. And we're trying to get to a 75% show rate. That's not happening. We're at like a 50% show rate right now. So that's really our hole in the model. Yeah. And then out of the 50% that show up, we're closing like 71% right now out of the 50% that show up.
And what you talked about it earlier, dude, it goes back to the freaking belief, right? Are they willing to pull over and take that call for you to change their day and their business, man? And I think when you have that belief on the other side, especially on a live demo, like, dude, when you're on the camera, dude, I've been doing some calls with a company called CallSync, and like all these people, like nobody turns their freaking camera on when I'm doing these demos. I'm like, please turn your camera on, man. I feel like I'm just talking to like literally a voice.
Are you on camera? You're on camera, but they're not. I hate that,
camera, dude, because it's like that to me is.
I hate that.
I mean, that's really how you set body language. We were just talking about in our morning meeting, like the importance of body language, even in a virtual environment. And I'm just like, dude, turn it on. But no, I do, man. It does go back to that belief. Like when you can feel that, or you can see it, or you can hear it. That's the game changer, man.
It is, man. It is. And you only get that belief from authenticity, and you only get authenticity from honesty and integrity. And so that's where this is all stemming from in my mind, is like what has led Luke here in his journey is just realizing, I've hit my lid. Call it my leadership lid, call it my business lid. I've hit my lid, and what got me here is not going to take me to the next level in my speaking, in my content, in how I lead people. It's not like I'm a great, I deliver great content inauthentically would be my pain point. It's what I ID for myself as self-reflection. It's not because when I compare myself to other content people, I go, you're talking too much at people, not with them. And you're trying to teach more than just trying to share. And so what, and this is just my self-reflection and talking to different coaches and people like that. It's like, I have great content. So why doesn't it get more traction? Because it's not relatable, right? And it's not, it's too much like a perfect, it comes across as like, this is exactly what you should do instead of an authentic one. And obviously everybody's going to be hardest on themselves. Well, hopefully. And so that's really what I've ID'd. It's like, oh, Luke, why aren't you creating the leaders you need to create? Because you haven't gone deep enough in authenticity with them. You've laughed at jokes. I'm just using this as an example. It's like you laugh at jokes that aren't really funny. And so take that same example and apply it to everything, right? It's like you got to be more real, because you don't create real people if you're not real. You don't help people advance if you don't give them the authentic feedback that they need. And then if they know that's who you are, they will accept it. If you never do that, and then all of a sudden you come in one day and you give a radical candor conversation, you've never done that to that person, they're gonna be like, what the heck happened? You woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. So you gotta live that way, 100% honest, 100% of the time. I add through love, because I think you can fool yourself and not treat people in love, disguising it as honesty. So you can be 100% honest 100% of the time, and I say with love, of like you can do it at a good heart's intent, not a bad one.
1,000%, bro. I know it's 10. Do you have another call? Can I ask you one last question?
Okay, one last question. I do actually have another call, but it's with a guy for HVAC system.
All right.
So I'll make him wait a little bit.
in 5 years, when you're looking back, what do you want people to say, or what do you hope they say about Luke Acree 5 years from now?
That he honestly, this has just been more lately my conviction, is that he cared more about the kingdom of God than he did about the kingdom of Luke. And he changed a lot of people's lives for Christ. That the evidence of my life would point people to the transformation that Jesus has done in my heart. I'm trying to adjust my life, realizing that I don't think people would not say I think people would say I'm a good person, all that stuff. But it's not about being a good person. It's about, hey, is the impact that I'm making with my money and time and the people and the interactions I have, because you guys know this because you are successful. once you make some money, it's nice, but impact matters more. Life of success is about you. A life of significance is about others and impact. And so that's what I hope.
Yeah, I love that. And
So good.
I'd heard it recently. Don't chase success, chase significance.
Yep.
Right.
Love it.
Yep.
No, well said.
Mr. Merwin, close us out, man. This
Yeah,
has been
man.
awesome.
Good stuff, Luke. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to come and see us. And for those of you guys that are out there, I'm telling you right now, this is a dope magazine. I use it. I get referrals out of it. I'm using it pretty much exactly like Luke told me to use. Send it to all my top referral partners. So I immediately put it, all of my BNI members that are in my BNI chapter, put them on the list, and some of my absolute best customers. And they love it. I get compliments about it all the time. I probably got people that are calling Luke or his sales reps looking for business because I promote the hell out of it as well. But it's a great tool. If you're interested in it, check them out. Look up Andrew or look up Luke on social media. You can get more info on their magazine. It's outstanding. But thank you again. And, of course, tune in to the Monday show, man. I'm going to tell you again, if you're not tuning into Monday, you're missing the boat. It is absolutely – and please watch us on Wednesday and watch me on Tuesday. But ultimately, like, if you're missing the boat, it is easily the best show that we produce. And Luke runs it all by himself with his own time and his own motivation, his own authenticity. So thank you again for stopping by, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We do this every week. We do it every Wednesday. We'll see you at the next one.
It's the peak of the week, y'all. Don't slow down. Keep the pedal down. And we will see y'all next week. Thank you, Luke. Have a good one, y'all.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.